It's time for No Pad Sports Talk. Stay tuned as two brothers bring you the latest from your Michigan teams and beyond in hockey, baseball, football, and more. Let's get started. Here are your hosts, JD and Steve.
Welcome to another edition of No Pad Sports Talk. I am one of your hosts, JD.
And I'm Steve, and it's Wednesday, and that means pregame for the upcoming Baltimore Ravens.
It's going to be an awesome, hard-hitting game, I tell you.
Yeah, absolutely, it's going to be. This was one of those games that I kind of looked at, and I'm like, it was all going to depend on what Lamar Jackson was going to look like. So at the beginning of the season, he hasn't played. And then when he did, he didn't look good last year. So, he didn't look like the Lamar Jackson of old.
Right.
And, I think that team is a little bit different this year.
Mm-hmm.
So, they're at 4-2. They're leading their division. And they've had, couple of wins there, I think, that were out on the road on their schedule. Let me look at this thing. Because they just played.
They just beat the Titans at Tennessee.
Yeah. But they beat Cleveland and Pittsburgh and Cincinnati, all of them.
They lost to Pitt.
Oh, they lost to Pittsburgh. I'm sorry. Yep. But, and those were all road games for them. So,
right.
And that's everyone in their division. So they lost to Pittsburgh on the road, but they beat Cleveland, and then they beat Cincinnati. So that's kind of big when you're looking at your conference, right?
Yeah,
so
sure.
At least for them, when you already got, you're 2-1 in your conference, and you got all three games, you get them all at home at the end of the year. So that's got to make them feel pretty good about that as far as tiebreakers go, if it gets down to those types of things at the end of the season.
Right.
But I guess that's enough about them for now. Let's talk about our lines a little bit. Today was Wednesday. It's their first walkthrough on practice. We got a list of those that were limited at practice, and we talked, JD said, he wasn't surprised. Montgomery did not practice because of the rib injury. And, I have to agree with him. I said, I don't think he's going to play this weekend. As a counter to that, they signed Mo Ibrahim, the rookie that they had in camp from Minnesota, who set those records up there in Minnesota for that team. And, so I think just as to bolster that running back room.
Well, they needed it too because this was unexpected to me, but Craig Reynolds, the road grader, didn't practice.
Oh,
so
yeah.
I mean, so you're down Montgomery, you're down Reynolds. Gibbs was limited. You had to make a move for the running back room right now. That's.
Yeah.
I did not know that Reynolds was injured like that, where he was unable to practice until, I saw the injury report.
Yeah, so one of the, it wasn't the post game, but it was an interview with Coach Campbell. It was either Monday or Tuesday, and they were asking about, reporters were asking him about signing a running back, if they're what they were going to do. Mm-hmm. And he talked about, maybe even having that person on our team already.
Right.
And it sounded like he might have been talking about using a receiver, like maybe Khalif Raymond coming out of the backfield.
Mm-hmm.
But I like the signing. I like Mo Ibrahim. I like that, he was an undrafted free agent signing after the draft. I'm surprised he didn't go. I think he had a little bit of an injury thing at the end of his time there in Minnesota, and I think that was probably one thing that people looked at. So bottom line is, I thought it was a good signing. I like that he knows our playbook a little bit. It's not just somebody that's coming in with, doesn't know what we're doing.
Right.
Since
Exactly.
he did spend all camp with us. So I thought that was a great signing for the team as we're moving forward to Baltimore. I think you're going to see a lot more. While we're still going to try and run the ball, maybe things work out. Gibbs is going to, if he comes back and he's able to play and the hamstring's not bothering him, I think they might still limit him even in the game if he is dressed.
Yeah.
As a rookie like that, I just, you got to be thinking his long-term health, and you want that hamstring to really, heal up well. Because there wasn't a lot of news about how bad the hamstring was, right?
No.
'Cause I didn't see anything. I didn't know if you saw anything. So, as far as that goes, hamstrings can be very finicky, So, I don't want it to, you get out there and run a couple of plays and then he's done, they had to put him on IR and he's done for the year kind of thing,
Yep.
I mean, speaking of, rookies going down for the year, did you see Anthony Richardson's having that surgery? He's out for the rest of the season for the Colts.
Yeah, I did see that. Yep.
So, but yeah, I think Jared Goff is going to have to do more of what he did last week. When we weren't able to rush the ball a whole lot, as effective as we have been in the past.
Right.
And it relied on him, passing the ball, and that meant, tight ends, that meant, more receivers coming out of the backfield. Like all of that's going to be in play again, I think, this week as we go up against the Ravens.
Well, Ravens have a really good defense, obviously, especially against the run. I mean, you're going to have to put more. You got to put more on Jared Goff, let him throw the ball a little bit more, especially if we do get Gibbs back healthy. Because a lot of times those little screen passes and the little passes, for 2 or 3 yards, where Gibbs can go ahead and then try to take off and create something. A lot of times those runs can kind of substitute in, or those passing plays can substitute in for an effective run game. And so like Gibbs would be great for that, obviously. But you still got Laporta, Amon-Ra St. Brown, and now Reynolds has always been a good safety outlet, but now Jameson Williams, take the top off the defense. If we're going to be missing our main ball carrier, I think this is the game to do it when you have all your offensive passing weapons available.
Absolutely. And there are so many teams out there that use the screen game to get their running game, right? Because it just spreads them out. It makes the linebackers slide out more, right? Even if it's just another step, right? That safety's paying attention more, so they're not coming head first right into the between the tackles. So a good screen game is definitely going to be useful. I think Detroit does it pretty good. They've been between the screens, running, the play action. But I agree with Jameson Williams. He's gonna have to stretch one out, right? And that's really the only way to get the defense to back off, and it has to be more than just once, right? It can't be one 45-yard bomb, which for a touchdown, which we appreciate, right? But on the backside of that, we've got to be able to hit him, a couple of 20 yards, to stretch that out a little bit. It doesn't have to be 40 yards, but it's got to be in that 15 to 25 yard mark to kind of back everybody up.
Yeah, I mean, it's to me, personally, I don't care if it's Williams or Reynolds or Raymond or whomever, as far as that 20 yards out, right? But but obviously, I'd like to see Jameson Williams, because I just think that Jameson Williams can be dangerous with the ball in his hands. Like that dude is just fast. I kept saying it in the post game. He's one of the fastest players I've seen.
Yeah.
Legit 4.2 speed. I'm not sure if that's actually what he ran, but that's what it looks like. The guy is just fast. So like, I'd love to be able to get him the ball and just see, him just try to break one, just, catch it 15 yards on the field, turn around and just, race somebody to the sideline and just keep on going.
Yeah.
But, it's with the way that Baltimore is built, they got a lot of, big guys up front. Even the linebackers are pretty, sizable, so, and one thing the screen game does do as well is it gets those big guys running side to side, quite often. They're not just right there clogging the middle, although that is tiring in and of itself. But, running those, sprints to the sideline, that can really take its toll, especially towards the end of the game.
Oh, absolutely.
And Lamar Jackson, he's going to give our front seven fits. We've always seemed to have an issue with running quarterbacks. I personally, I'm not too scared about their running game. I know they got a good running game as far as yards go, but as far as a running back, ball in the running back's hands, I'm not that worried about it. Our defense seems to be pretty stout against the run with the running back. Yep. But it's the Lamar Jackson factor as far as the ball in his hands. That's kind of gives me a little bit of concern, just because in the past we've always seen that hurt the Lions.
Absolutely. I mean, Lamar Jackson is Baltimore's leading rusher.
Yeah.
And it's not by a lot. It's like 40 yards, but it's still 40 yards more than any of his running backs.
Yep.
Right? And, Gus Edwards had a good game this last week. But I'm sure that helped in that. But still, Lamar, you got to stop Lamar.
You got to stop Lamar.
And we have to be able to apply the pressure. So the ends got to be able to come. Defensive tackles, they all have to stay in their lane, and we have to keep him in the box. If we can keep him in the box, I mean, that game to me would be an easy win if you keep Lamar in the box, right? And don't let him get out. So not only do you have to keep him in the box, I think they're going to have somebody spy him in case he does,
Yep,
right?
You got to have a spy on him. Absolutely.
Whether it's a linebacker or a safety, somebody's going to have to keep an eye on him. So if he does squirt up through the middle, someone's going to be there to get him, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because those are the plays that hurt the Lions the most. If you look back to Kansas City, when Patrick Mahomes, when he ran the ball, that's when he ran the ball, right? We kept our contain, and he ran up the middle because that's where it opened up, because everybody had their back to him. In any game where the Lions have been beat by a running quarterback, that's what's happened. Like,
right. Mm-hmm.
Everyone has their back to the quarterback in the secondary, so it's 15 yards and before he's even touched.
Correct.
Right? So that's where the spy, they've got to play that. They've got to have a guy down near the box, a four-man rush. I'm not asking you to, the rush five. I think our four-man rush has been getting plenty of pressure in our first 6 games. So you get a guy that's going to spy, and, I mean, I think that could be Jack Campbell, our young linebacker.
Yeah, it could be. Anzalone.
Anzalone.
Yeah.
I did that. I was thinking more Jack Campbell just because of his speed and his ability to move laterally.
Mm-hmm.
Right? But, Anzalone's been having a fantastic season. Fantastic season. And again, it's weird because I still think has a little bit to do, maybe Jack Campbell being there, right? I know he's a rookie, but that effect of having that kind of player next to you, like maybe it's just a trust thing where feels like he can move and be in different spots because of that, what he's got in the front four and maybe the linebackers he's got next to him.
I think it's a scheme thing.
Yeah.
Because, Anzalone, he was always kind of the one assigned, for coverage situations.
Mm-hmm.
Cover the running back, cover the tight end. And even though, obviously, he still has a lot of those, same, again, depending on which formations out there, but he still does those things, still does coverage. But, Campbell has been doing coverage, so that's allowed Anzalone to do other things as well. whether it was, rushing the passer or just drop back and play a little bit of zone or, conspire the QB. I'm not saying he's the best one for it. I'm not saying that's what I'm calling for. I'm just saying I think either one of those two linebackers would be perfect because I think that they're both capable. And with Lamar Jackson, I mean, let's look at what he's doing so far this year. I mean, he's got thrown for 5 touchdowns and thrown 3 interceptions, and he's already been sacked 16 times.
Yeah.
So
he holds the ball. He holds the ball a long time.
Yeah. I mean, he's on pace for like 48 sacks. That is nuts, man. And I'm not even sure if that's actually going to if he's actually gonna get that many sacks. That's gonna happen or whatever. But that's still a lot of punishment is taken. And
absolutely.
And with our defensive line, I don't mind doing a little bit of blitzing if I feel confident that we can, get there in a couple seconds, 3 seconds or so.
Yep.
And hit him, throw off his timing. So let's rush 5 or possibly even 6, depending on the situation.
Sure.
And let's keep him rattled. Let's keep hitting him. Because, he has not been great throwing the ball. But,
right.
He's been making mistakes. So.
Absolutely. And you said a lot of great things there. One, with you're talking about his touchdown to interception ratio, but the number of sacks, even though he's their leading rusher, that tells me that the offensive line is not that good because they're not able to protect him. So that's one. 2 is he's trying to scramble around and make something happen in the backfield. So instead of running, he's trying to be a passer, which benefits the Lions as well, right?
It does.
As far as us, because our defense is fast, and we can get to the quarterback. So all of that kind of plays into our strengths, right? The idea of maybe having Brian Branch back in the secondary is, gets my heart aflutter. Because
me too.
We've watched the games that he's played in, and I mean, just from the first interception to the to his injury, and you're just he only progressed and got better in all of those games until he got hurt, right? Mm-hmm. So even if you get him back healthy, of course, right? But he's not at game 4 level or whatever, because of the last 2 games, and he's more like game 2 or game 3, you're still getting a really good defensive back.
Absolutely.
Right?
And someone that can hit, and someone that's not going to be afraid to come up and, and again, pop Lamar Jackson when necessary.
Yep.
And I think what we're going to see here is Lions have a chance at turnovers, not only from the interceptions, but Lamar Jackson has fumbled 7 times this year already in 6 games.
Wow.
Losing 4 of them.
So that's 7 turnovers, that he's had by himself.
Mm-hmm.
Lamar Jackson's not a really big guy. When you look at his frame, to be a mobile quarterback the way he is, he's not built like a Jalen Hurts, who has some mobility, right?
Yeah, he's 6'2", 215.
Yeah, so while 215 is not nothing to shake a stick at, right? It's not. But you just look at his frame when he's going up against, 225 that looks like Brian Branch, or a 240 in Jack Campbell. You know what I mean? Like
right.
those numbers just it's not good in his favor. How's that?
No.
So,
but yeah, I mean, I think this is a good game for the defense to actually, again, create opportunities for the offense.
Yes.
We have seen that in a lot of games that that they've played so far, between interceptions and fumbles. But hey, this is gonna be another one that we're gonna need to win the turnover battle, because it's gonna be a hard fought game. It's gonna be, man, the 2 defenses is going to be where the games won and lost Sunday, right? The defenses are going to be key, and whichever defense tires first, I believe that's the team that's going to lose. And what you say too about the spread? Lions are underdogs.
3-point underdogs.
Yeah,
3-point underdogs. Yep.
So,
but when you talk about that, I was also looking at the Lions are, according to the betting line, they're plus 450 to win to have the number 1 seed in the NFC. Behind the 49ers and the Eagles.
So now that you said that, this is a. I wanted to bring this up. It was a perfect time to bring this up since you said that.
Yep.
All right. Now, I know we kind of did our power rankings in a way, but we did ours in terms of tiers because I think it's really hard to rank certain teams because certain teams are pretty close together. And so, right, like those teams can, beat one another up. It's like any given Sunday for those teams, right?
Yep.
So with the any given Sunday type of situation, we kind of do it more in tiers than number 1 through 32. But most outlets, they have it numbered 1 through 32. And there's been a lot of hype on the Lions. Like Stephen A. Smith, for an example, has Lions ranked number 1 on his list. And he's not the only one. Like, Lions are, finally starting to get some respect. However, one outlet that's not giving Lions any respect is Sports Illustrated. Now, you said that according to, the Vegas or whatever with the betting odds, Lions are basically number 3 in the NFC.
Right.
So let me ask you then, brother. If you had to put the Lions 1 through 32, where do you put them at? Are they 5? Are they 10? Are they 7? Are they 2?
Right now, I have them top 5.
Okay.
Okay. I think they're easily in the top 3. I do.
3, then.
Yes.
Okay.
I really do think they're a top 3 team. Just because I'm not sure.
And all the NFL we're talking about, right? Not just
and all the NFL. Yep.
Okay. So who would you look at putting as well in the top 3 with the Lions then? What 2 teams?
So I'd have San Francisco and the Eagles. That's
fair.
To me, those teams have been, other than last week, obviously for the Niners and the Eagles, they didn't look great, right? But all in all, as far as strength of what they've got, I think those are the top 3 teams.
Okay. So let me tell you what happened here. All right. This is why Sports Illustrated sucks. So after they beat Carolina, all right, and they thumped Carolina 42-24, just as a reminder, right? Like Sports Illustrated had the Lions ranked number 4 in the NFL. They had Niners, the Eagles, and the Chiefs ranked ahead of the Lions. Okay? Now, this past Sunday, Lions go to Tampa Bay, and they beat Tampa 20-6 in a hard-fought game that the Lions still, even though it was hard-fought, they still dominated from beginning to the end.
Yep.
And there was never really much of a doubt the Lions were going to win that game. So, after they beat Tampa 20-6, and they were ranked number 4, where do you think they have them ranked now after thumping Tampa?
Well, I'm going to, based on your demeanor, I'm going to say they're probably 7 or 8.
7. How do you have them ranked 4?
Yep.
They thump a team at their own place, and you move them down 3 spots?
Yep.
And the teams who move up in front of them are the Dolphins, the Bills, and the Bengals.
The Bengals?
The Bengals.
All right.
Like,
well,
it makes no sense to me, man. And,
none.
And let me throw some more stats out at you, all right? Because I love doing that. Let me throw some more stats out at you. Out of all the teams that are 5-1 with 1 loss, right? the Lions' schedule is the toughest by far as like winning percentage goes. All right, winning percentage, Lions has the toughest schedule out of all the one-loss teams. In addition to that, Miami Dolphins, they're 5-1. They have them in their current power rankings number 4. Miami Dolphins has only played one team out of the 6 games they've played. Only one team has more than 2 wins, and that was the Bills, and they lost.
And
yet they're ranked number 4.
Yeah.
And only one team has more than 2 wins. At least the Lions, every team they've played this year, at the time they played them, they were either at or above 500. Yep. Only team that's happened to. Lions have a tough schedule. And they're winning games away from home. Right? So right? And I still hate the fact that they got the Chiefs above the Lions when Lions went to Kansas City and beat them at home.
Right.
And they still got the Chiefs ranked above the Lions. And they're like, well, Kelsey. Screw that, man. You know, like every year we have to hear about certain quarterbacks. Like take Stafford, for example. You know, Stafford goes out. He's without Calvin Johnson. He doesn't have a running game. He only had like twice in his entire career with the Lions. It was like a runner over 100 yards, whatever. Like,
right.
And everybody's like, hey, if you're a good QB, you make everybody else around you better. There's no excuse for injuries. You just have to go out there and win, right?
That's right.
The only person that people make excuses for is Mahomes. And I like Mahomes. I'm not a hater when it comes to Mahomes. I'm just saying I hate on the people that's allowing Mahomes to have an excuse of not having Kelsey. Because, like, every other quarterback, no excuses. It's like, you play with who you got. You're supposed to elevate them and make them better. But for Mahomes, let's give him a pass because he didn't have Kelsey. Why? Why does he get a pass and no one else does?
Yeah, that's an excellent question. Well, I think it's a question. I was reading something that's a little bit off topic, but Micah Parsons from Dallas, right?
Beast, yes.
Right? So he was talking kind of something very similar about how, like, between the Eagles, you know, they're making excuses for the Eagles and the Niners and their loss that they just had, right?
Mm-hmm.
And how they're forgiving them. And then Micah Parsons is like, but we don't get the same thing?
Right.
Like, they hold the Cowboys to a higher standard, right? Same thing like Detroit has been beating good teams, right? They've been beating good teams.
Right.
Give them the credit that they deserve, right? And, I mean, anything can happen. We say it every week. It's an any given Sunday scenario, right?
It is.
You could go in there, you could be 50-point favorites and lose by 6 points. Right?
Absolutely. Yeah.
It is just what could happen. So that's why we play the games, because otherwise the Eagles and the Chiefs would already be in the Super Bowl.
That's correct. Absolutely.
Right?
Yep. I don't...
So...
overall, dude, I understand power rankings doesn't matter. And personally, I wouldn't care if they had the Lions ranked number 32 as long as the Lions won the Super Bowl. Right? Who cares?
Yeah.
You know?
To me, that just keeps a chip on their shoulder. Like,
it's a bulletin board material. Yeah.
They're just getting it, and it's something for them to say, you know what? I'm in Ross St. Brown and asking him how many receivers were selected in front of him. That's the kind of team we have, right? So go ahead.
Everyone.
That's right. Go ahead, rank us low, because you know what? We're going to start listing all those places that ranked us like that when we make it to the show. And
by the way, bro, just one last stat about that whole thing. The Lions are also the only team to beat a 5-1 team, right? Like, as far as 5-1 teams, there's only 5-1 team to beat another 5-1 team.
Yep.
So again, you know, we just have to look. I've been cautiously optimistic about the Lions all year because, you know, being a Lions fan for as long as we have,
you have to.
We've been disappointed so many different times, you know. So, you know, it's heartbreaking, you know. We've seen Lions start 6-0 and then not make the playoffs. Like, it just we've gone through this, So, but this is I'm turning into a believer, and in a way, I want to defend my team. I want to defend the Lions because when someone is basically disrespecting them, and that's what kind of is happening with this, ranking number 7 thing.
Right.
I don't know, man. That's just you kind of want to come to their defense and say, look, you're wrong, and here's why. And that's just why I had to get that off my chest.
Yeah. So here's the schedule, right? So when you look at teams that we have to play that currently have a winning record, right? And let's just go that they have a winning, or they're 500, right? We're looking at
from now or what?
From now, from now. So you got Baltimore, Vegas,
okay,
the Saints, Dallas. That's who we have that are currently 500 and above.
Cowboys? Aren't they, wait, what are they?
Yeah, they're 4-2. Yeah, did I say Cowboys? I'm sorry.
If you didn't, I don't remember hearing it.
Yeah,
I didn't hear it. So
okay, so yeah, Baltimore, Vegas, the Saints,
and Cowboys,
and Dallas. Right. So you got the Cowboys. So that's, and we play at the Saints.
At Dallas.
And we're gonna play at Dallas. Right.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not real sure what we're gonna get out of Vegas. They're kind of an up and down team. The Chargers, same thing. Like, we have feasibly, I mean, we could go 4 losses for the season, right? Mm-hmm. If we were to lose those games, if we beat Baltimore, we can beat Baltimore. I think we're gonna. We can beat the Saints because the Saints are still, I think they're still trying to figure that out there too with Derek Carr. We just got through probably the toughest part of our schedule. When I'm looking at the backside of this schedule, it's going to be what it's going to be. But I don't want to look too far ahead, but I'm looking at we're going to be 12-4, 11-5, or 12-5, right? We 12-5, 13-4 at the end of the season. That's
absolutely we could.
Absolutely possible right now. And that's, to me, if you're not the number 1 seed, I mean, they're going to be looking at 4 or 5 tiebreakers.
And here's the thing, too. And I talk about the Ravens. All right, let's see who the Ravens played. You take it game by game. First game of the season was against the Texans. Look, Texans are a lot better team now than they were game 1 of the season. Right?
They are.
So Ravens won 25-9, but I don't think if they played them again, that would not be the same score. 100% it would not. Ravens beat the Bengals by 3 points, and a second game of the year. And let's face it, Bengals have not been a very good team at the start of this year. So, can you really call that a quality win? No. Colts then beats the Ravens. Ravens beat the Browns, and the Browns have a legit defense, and Ravens put up 28 against them. So okay, I'll go with that, right? It's legit. Lost to the Steelers, and then they beat the Titans. And really, that whole game with the Titans, Titans need a quarterback. That's the bottom line. I mean, you can't sit there and have your quarterback going 8 for 16 for only 76 yards and a pick. You just can't do that.
Yeah. Well, you got Tannehill. We don't even know if he's going to be available this week because he went down last week. Mm-hmm. Malik Willis came in and played. They drafted the Will Levis from Kentucky, right? So they have him on the roster. But to me, you drafted 2 quarterbacks back-to-back years. To me, they didn't have faith in Malik Willis, right?
No, they did not.
Right? Which is why you went out and got Will Levis, even though you got him in the second round, right? We talked about that during the draft. Like, there is something that teams saw on that player that they did not like, right?
Yep, you're right.
And I think the Titans were like, you know what? We've got a young guy on our team. It's a second rounder. They felt like they could take a flyer on a second round quarterback like that, right? Who has the rank? Who had a first round grade that fell like that to them in the second round?
Right.
Fine, right? But I haven't heard about him, you know. So there's a lot going on that team. But you're right. They do need a quarterback. You know, Tannehill had a bit of a revival, but who knows? So, but as far as our Lions, you know, we've got our quarterback. You know, it'd be interesting. I'd like to see Hooker get some time here. I know because he could actually be designated to come back anytime. He's already over the 4 games. I know he's not quite a year out from the injury. I know we're getting close. But to maybe, you know, if we got some games where he just get out there and take a few snaps, you know, so he can feel some of that action a little bit,
sure.
Maybe testing.
Yeah.
So that would be awesome to see, just to see what you can get out of him, because we know he's got an arm, right?
Yeah.
He has the ability to move, so he's a different kind of quarterback than Jared Goff. And I'm not trying to get rid of Jared Goff. I hope that we can, you know, keep him for a couple more years. The way he's currently playing, right?
Absolutely. Yeah, and I
So,
know Dan Campbell, he actually is vehemently supports Goff being getting a contract extension. You know?
Absolutely.
So,
I mean, you can't come into a team that was where we were at and then play the way he's been playing. Right?
Like
we
said it last one of our previous podcasts. I can't remember if it was the last one or the one before that, but like if he continues playing like he is and Lions get into the playoffs, you have to Goff has to be in the running for MVP. Has to be.
MVP. Has to be. Yeah. Right? No one says that he's going to win, but you got to look overall, he's a top 5 guy right now. Right?
Right. Yeah.
So you can't tell me that he's not. You can't look at him. It just doesn't make any sense. So
now, the one thing that we have to keep in mind, right, and this is something I've read, and so I'm not a GM by any means. I don't understand everything that it goes into contracts, but one thing I read was that a Goff extension would cost somewhere around $50 million a year. So
that's if that's what he asked for, right?
Well, I mean, that is true. I mean, he can definitely take a discount if he wanted to. But the thing is, because right now you look at the average annual values of some of the top guys in the league. You know, Jalen Hurts got 51 mil, Lamar Jackson 52 mil, Herbert 52.5, Burrow 55, right? So, and right now, when he signed with the Rams, his annual value was 33.5 mil at the time he signed with the Rams. Okay,
Yeah.
so, but Derek Carr is making 37, and of course Daniel Jones is making 40. So you would expect him to make, more than Daniel Jones, right? At 40 million.
I would think so. Yes.
Yeah. So that's a lot, right? And now, you have to think about re-signing Penei Sewell, Amon-Ra St. Brown. Right. Like, I mean, there's a lot of guys coming up that they're going to have to look, try to get extensions for. And of course, even though it's a little ways away, but Aiden Hutchinson.
Yep.
So anyways, I'm just saying, like, 50 mil, if he does, get right around that, that's, it's going to be tough to kind of keep some of those guys.
Yeah. And while the salary cap dollars keep moving up a little bit every year, you just, the cost of quarterbacks today, it's just astronomical. Like, I don't know how teams are able to build around, and have players in place. So Joe Burrow just got all that money. Did Jamar Chase get a new contract?
Not yet.
Right? So what's going to happen there? Because he's one of the top receivers. right? He needs top receiver money.
Chase is amazing. I don't know. Like he's top 5 for sure.
Yeah.
But
and Justin Jefferson was having another great year until he got hurt.
I think that's the best receiver in the league personally is Jefferson.
Oh, absolutely. I agree.
I love Amon-Ra St. Brown. I do. I love the guy. But Jefferson is, he's this. No. I don't know.
Yeah.
Man. I don't want to say anything bad about him, but jeez.
There's no words, right? Like the guy just gets it done.
Yeah.
And if they could get somebody other, and I'm not saying that, what's the quarterback's name now? From Minnesota. But anyway, they get somebody out. Oh, Kirk Cousins. They get somebody not a Kirk Cousins out there who can actually get him the ball. Or, his career could just keep going up. So, but yeah. But anyway, as far as this weekend's game, what do you got for some predictions, brother?
Okay. So I'll start with the offensive player of the game. Again, just for those out there, we don't pick quarterbacks because that's too easy. So, I want to say Amon-Ra St. Brown again because I think the guy is just he's too vital, and the guy does everything right. He's always open. Yep. And I mentioned, and that was who I picked last game was Amon-Ra St. Brown, and I think that it's very similar with what's going to happen with the Ravens. I think Amon-Ra St. Brown is going to be open basically all game. I don't think that they have anyone in the secondary in the Ravens that can cover that guy one-on-one. I don't think they can. So I think Amon-Ra St. Brown's going to be open all day. But, just because I want to have fun with this one, I'm going to go with a little bit of a dark horse here. But he has the ability to be the offensive player of the game. But I'm just going to go ahead and have fun with it, take a dark horse, and I'm going to go with Jammo.
Okay. All right. So offensive player, let me give you my offensive player. And kind of weird. I think special teams are going to play a huge part in this game.
Okay.
Right? So, while I feel like I'm going to go, because it's probably more defensively, but I'm going to pick Jack Fox. I'm going to take the punter.
Yeah, it's not really an offensive player of the game, but okay.
Well, because I think he's going to put our defense in a better position because of how he's going to, with the kicking game.
All right.
All right. So it's kind of an offensive move, while I know he's a special teams player.
I'll let you have it. Defense. Again, I think Aiden Hutchinson's going to be harassing Lamar Jackson all game. But I think that Lamar Jackson's going to be doing a lot of running around in the behind the line of scrimmage, and it's going to be tough for the Lions to actually get sacks this game. So I'm going to go with another dark horse a little bit here. Last game I picked Alex Anzalone, and the dude balled out again like he has all year. But I'm going to go, again, I'm going to dark horse again. I'm going to go Kirby Joseph.
Okay.
I think that he's going to be key against the Ravens, not just in terms of coverage, but there might be times in which he might have to come up a little bit. Not necessarily playing the Brian Branch role, especially if Brian Branch is back. But I just don't think the Lions are going to respect the passing game of the Ravens until the Ravens force them to respect it. So you might start seeing a lot of safeties playing a little bit up close, and you might be getting a lot of Kirby Joseph safety blitzes, as well as some possible side to side tackling for any sort of the running game they're trying to go outside the tackle with. So I want to go Kirby Joseph this time.
All right. I'm going to go by committee. I'm going outside the box here. I'm picking our defensive tackles.
Okay.
Right? Because they rotate them in so frequently, right? Because it keeps them fresh, right? But we have the depth to do that. And I think because of what we're going to be doing on the ends, the defensive tackles are going to have the ability to get those sacks, those tackles for loss, because we're going to be keeping things inside. So I think they're going to have a big game.
I totally understand that. That's a good guess. Yeah.
Yep.
And final score prediction. What you got?
Final score. I went low last week, and I was close. I mean, it was a low-scoring game.
You're closer than me, 100%. Yeah.
Yeah. So, I'm going to stick. I think it's going to be another hard game. That I think the Lions are going to win, and they're going to win by 2. So, I'm going to go with 16-14.
All right. I also predict a close game. I just think in this game here, it could go down in the last possession. So, with that being said, I'm going to go final score 23-20.
Okay.
Lions.
All right. I know I picked a weird number, but I'm trying to be realistic about what we're doing here.
Yeah, I got you.
I think we're going to get our touchdown, and then, we're going to see a bunch of field goals, because I think the running game's not going to be as good as it has been. So when we get inside the 20, get inside the 15, that passing game starts to shut down because everyone's in close. So I'm going to be putting a lot of faith in Riley Patterson to, kick 4 field goals for us.
4
or whatever it is. 3 field goals. 3 field goals. 3 field goals. But yeah, that's my prediction.
All right.
I think that's it. I think, like I said, you and I both said it's going to be a tough game. But every game's a tough game, and I think for Lions fans, every game's a tough game because we have history.
Yeah,
as Lions fans.
Yeah, we do.
So it's while we have optimistic hopes, we
do.
We continue to hold our breath until the clock says all zeros.
Because either we're used to the Lions doing something stupid to screw up, or we're used to the referees screwing us. So either way, we have to wait till the clock says 0. And even after it says 0, you have to wait for 15 minutes afterwards just to make sure they're not going to pick something up or say they got to come back to the field or something.
Yeah, or they go to cut the commercial break and they come back and there was a flag and we're 15 yards in the wrong direction.
Yeah, what's going on?
Yeah.
But anyway, what do you guys think out there? Let us know your predictions, your offensive, defensive player of the game, stuff like that. Let us know. What do you think?
Yep, absolutely.
And with that being said, we definitely appreciate you listening. We appreciate, again, all the new followers that we've accrued and the comments that we're getting on all of our videos, including our shorts. So thank you for that. We appreciate it.
Yeah, absolutely.
And with that said, we'll talk to you next time.
We're going to talk to you guys later. And post-game, whenever we can get that out, we'll try to do it again Sunday right after the game if we can.
We'll try.
Well, at least that night. We'll try.
Night.
Yeah.
All right. Have a good one, guys.
Yep. Out.
Thanks for listening to No Pads Sports Talk. Be sure to subscribe so you don't miss a single episode. While you're at it, help spread the word by leaving a rating and review wherever you listen to podcasts. Follow us on social media at No Pads Sports Talk.